Well, the deep state is alive and well. A journalist exposes the truth about ties between his own government and one of the biggest resources for news and information. And for that, he's treated by government agencies, threatened. On the day that he testifies about it to Congress, his home is visited by government operatives. Intimidation, folks, harassment, persecution. It's not the Soviet Union, China, or Castro's Cuba. This isn't out of some novel about a dystopian future in which voices are silenced through fear. This is America. It's happening. It's Biden's America, where the deep state is alive and well. When journalist Matt Taibbi joined forces with Elon Musk to expose the government's overreach and their attempts to do away with freedom of speech on social media, his whole life suddenly changed. Exposing the truth has clear consequences, as we've seen this week on Fox News, and we have seen over the past several months. Deep state, alive and well. Just days ago, House Democrat Stacey Plaskett threatened Taibbi with prison time for supposedly making, quote, contradicting statements in his congressional testimony last month. Wow. All he did was expose them, and when he exposed them, they threaten you with prison. Guilty unless proven innocent. The deep state is alive and well. The Ministry of Truth has become the Goliath. What you hear, what you read, what you see, all of that is being controlled by them. Democracy, freedom, well, those things don't matter to them, and they'll stop at nothing to take them all down. The Democrat Party, their leadership are meeting in dark, swampy corners to do anything and everything in their power to squash any voices that would expose them. Their cult of censorship kicked off the moment the MAGA movement started. They exposed the deepest, darkest depths of blue corruption. Matt Taibbi should get a Pulitzer Prize for exposing three-letter agencies who look to kill freedom of speech, who stifle and censor any information they don't like. One of the most egregious, most massive offenses of government censorship in American history, the Hunter Biden laptop, the truth about COVID and Fauci, the deep state, alive and well. American lives, votes, decisions, and policies are made based on real information. Instead, we're being fed lies by a government intent on going to the deepest, darkest, most Orwellian places to keep their power over us. Matt Taibbi should be rewarded a Pulitzer Prize, but instead he's being threatened and harassed. He's being threatened with 5 years in prison. Censorship at the very deep center of it. The deep state is alive and well. And one of the journalists who is exposing them joins us now, that man, Matt Taibbi. He's here tonight. Matt, thank you for joining us. So you testified. While you're testifying, and what you're testifying to is how the government was getting involved with Twitter and maybe others. And while you're testifying, they're knocking on your door at home, number one. But also, tell us about how you missed one letter of an agency that happens to be linked anyway, and for that they want to throw you in prison. Tell us.
Yeah, first of all, that did happen with the IRS. I came home that day from testifying in Washington, and my wife told me that there was a note that had been left in the door, and I did find out that the IRS came as I was testifying. At first, I thought it was a coincidence, but subsequent events have made me wonder whether it possibly could be. And then, yes, later, I had an interview on MSNBC. Some mistakes that I made. They're minor errors, really. They're typos. Came out, and as a result of that, I was asked. Sent a letter and threatened with 5 years imprisonment for intentional perjury, before the committee, which is absolutely absurd. And what's really frightening about that is that apart from a few journalists who are really independents, not really one member of the mainstream press has said anything, even though it's kind of an unprecedented thing.
Yeah, and we need to call this out. And again, Stacey Plaskett is a Democrat from Virgin Islands. And again, the two agencies that you mixed up were somehow linked, but there was one letter off on it. It's insane. Meanwhile, Fauci will
they're very linked. Yeah, they're
go ahead,
linked.
Tell us. Yeah, tell us about the link.
Yeah, no, just quickly, I mixed up CIS and CISA. One is the Center for Internet Security. The other is the Cybersecurity Infrastructure and Security Agency. With the Election Integrity Partnership of Stanford, actually all three are openly partners, so the mistake was totally immaterial. They're actually in error by claiming they aren't. So that's part of the irony.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't call it irony. I would call it deep state sending you a message, and again, knocking on your door while you're testifying about the too cozy relationship between what looked to be the Biden administration and Twitter. Matt, I want to ask you about this other story that's kind of circulating. I'm not sure people are really paying attention to it. There's a couple of groups called GDI and NewsGuard, and they claim to be some sort of watchdog for the internet and for websites. What do you think of them? And do you find them completely unbiased? Because we see so much bias against right-wing media. I don't even know where you stand politically. It doesn't even matter. Just tell us what you think of them and if you think they're biased or not.
Yeah, just to clear, I'm not a Republican. I've never voted Republican in my life, but it doesn't matter. The GDI is an organization that's funded by, in part, among other things, by an agency in the American government that's housed in the State Department called the Global Engagement Center. I was looking at the same group while another reporter for the Washington Examiner was also doing some investigating into these groups. And what we find is that there's a whole constellation of these quote unquote anti-disinformation groups that are taking money from either the State Department or the Pentagon or the National Science Foundation. And a lot of what they're doing is just drawing up lists of either individual accounts or businesses that they think are bad actors or are, committing wrongthink, and funneling it to these platforms. So it's really state censorship encouragement, state-sponsored encouragement of censorship, and not many people know about it. It's really unfortunate. It
is unfortunate. One of the, a couple of the groups, Drudge Report is on this watch list of concern, right? Maybe even Newsmax. I'm not sure about that, but maybe even Newsmax. And again, it seems, first of all, it seems too incestuous to have the State Department, I don't know, funding a watchdog group that's supposed to be unbiased or non-biased. But do you find bias in there?
Well, absolutely. I think all of these things are counter to the spirit of the original charter of the CIA from 1947. The whole idea was that our intelligence services wouldn't be involved in domestic politics. But a lot of these anti-disinformation groups, what they really are, when you get down to it, is promoting messaging at home by targeting, the other domestic political groups and saying that they're either more or less trustworthy and that they need to be de-amplified or contrary amplified, and that's troubling.
Matt, it's anti-disinformation groups. It just sounds like 1984, like almost to a T. Matt, really good having you on. We'll get you back again. I think you have some more things that you can expose as we go further. Appreciate your time. Matt Taibbi, everybody.
Thanks so much.